he's talking about the fact that he was Deputy National Intelligence Officer. He was working on cyber issues and all sorts of other things. He at one point worked for Space Force. He was one of the guys in the IC who brought together and gave information to create the Presidential Daily Brief. And one of the things he also brought up was how to build the information on the ICA, the Intelligence Community Assessment. And he writes in his whistleblower testimony and emails, etc., that he was told basically to stand down when he found out that the additional information that Brennan and others wanted to put in, and Clapper wanted to put in the assessment, were unreliable and untrustworthy sources, i.e. the Steele dossier and other things that they said, no, we have nothing on which to base anything that the Russians were trying to help Trump. We've already heard this, right? This guy just underscores it because he says there's no context provided in the ultimate report that they came out with. Then he finds out to his shock that there are three versions of the report, one that goes to Obama and the inner guys, the other one that's classified, and then there's the one that is briefed to both Obama and Donald Trump. In addition, we find out that Clapper, Clapper is shocked that when they are going in the car to brief Donald Trump at Trump Tower, remember I talked to you about this Tuesday? They were shocked to see James Comey, the FBI director, putting the dossier in the file that they were going to brief President-elect Trump on. And so from there, Comey was in charge of taking the ball and running with it in the United States, i.e., he was running with the Russia op. Okay? So here's part of the other stuff. I think page 7 was kind of interesting to me. Okay, this one is, here's the people he was trying to become a whistleblower to or get information to. And this is kind of interesting because this thing here, the office is not informing congressional committees of your concerns. He's going, there's law breaking going on here. He tells them there's law breaking. Now it pertains to the presidential election. I need to talk to someone. And they go, yeah. Oh, sorry. Click. And it happened over and over and over again. Okay. And then page 7. Page 7. On June 16th, 2023, the SAF and IG, that is, the IG is the Inspector General, responded to me via unclassified email with a cursory redirect to the DOD IG hotline and blew him off again. And this guy's coming to the suits. And maybe he's, look, we all hate whiners, right? We do. We don't like tattletales. We don't like whiners. I get it. We don't like it. Whatever. But it comes back to bite them in the butt because he's trying to tell them that somebody is messing with the intelligence. And I became aware of multiple events that may have represented the use or attempted use of national security authorities to influence domestic politics. I believe some of these events may have influenced or been intended to influence congressional and public perceptions of the 2016 presidential election, and I'm concerned that others may represent attempts to obstruct lawful oversight. He also got contacted by, sort of this is an aside, contacted by a D.C. white shoe law firm. His office did, and they wanted to meet with somebody over here in his area of expertise, the cyber area, which I think is interesting. You'll see in a minute. Because of course, everybody, remember we played, they hacked. All the media were told that the Russians had hacked the election. Remember? They've hacked it. And it goes on for minutes, this hack stuff. And so they had a premise by which to, or pretext by which they could do all manner of cringeworthy things. Okay. And so you don't know, but he thought they were illegal. He thought that they were trying to sway not only opinion, but the 2016 election. I expressed, they pressured him to misrepresent his judgments regarding the 2016 presidential election in the context of the 2017, that's the key one, intelligence community assessment. I expressed tradecraft concerns, an analytic disagreement over a key judgment of the unclassified versions. Namely, I objected to overall framing of Russian activities as efforts to influence, as opposed to discredit the outcome of the 2016 election. He said that they didn't put any contextual things in it either, because he wanted to include in this assessment, hey, you know who else was trying to affect the outcome of the 2016 election with all kinds of dis and misinformation? Every other country that has a spy agency worth its salt was doing that. So he did that, and he reported it, and they blew him off. He gave it to the Durham. He got so desperate. This guy got so desperate that he actually called Jason Miyares, the AG of Virginia, who's a stand-up good guy and solid, American patriot, called that guy. And he says, I guess I can I can try to get it to Durham. But Durham never got back to him. So, okay. I objected to overall framing as efforts to influence as opposed to discredit the outcome of the 2016 election, and also judged that the 2017 ICA's treatment of overt media activities was omitting important context. In response, actively pressured me to change my judgments and stated clearly and directly to me that blank sought my concurrence as a means to persuade the Defense Intelligence Agency, the DIA, so that the DIA would play along. Yeah. Oh, hello, Tim Pool. Let's see. So it goes on. Here we go. Another. Direction to cease analysis of suspicious connections. This is the whistleblower. We know about whistleblowers. Sometimes they're right. Sometimes they're put up jobs by people on the right political side. Who knows? This guy seems legit. Everybody blew him off, though. And the reason why is because they were trying to dissuade him from telling anybody. After being directed to conduct analysis of Russian attributed cyber activity for the 2017 ICA, I had been abruptly directed to abandon further investigation and was told that reported activity was something else, based on open source information developed from the Durham investigation. I came to view some of the reported cyber activity as possibly related to activities of U.S. persons under federal investigations. And so, let's see what else. Russian cyber actors were doing. As the IC provided the U.S. state level governments more information on suspicious IP ranges, more connection attempts from suspicious IP ranges were reported, while there was at least one case of exfiltration by personally identifying information from a victim system. In many reports, I bet you that's the Alpha Bank. Don't you think that's the Alpha Bank thing? It seemed like their only brief interaction was occurring. So what he's basically saying here is that they were doing some funny stuff with cyber stuff, trying to exfil information or infill information, which may be where we get the derivation of the Alpha Bank hoax that Rachel Maddow was all in on for months, if not years. And because and they convinced her that the mention of anything having to do with Trump automatically meant that he was in on a Russian collusion deal. When, in fact, the bank did business with all manner of hotels, hospitality companies, golf courses, and that's the rubric under which they came to have their metadata in this bank system. So just so you know, that whole thing blew up. Okay, so Apple News. Okay, whatever. Sub-issues: failure to provide diverse perspectives or formulate a comprehensive or holistic assessment of foreign influence activities on the presidential election. Analysis of other countries other than Russia that I judge to be seeking influence in U.S. elections, both for and against then candidate Hillary Clinton and against then candidate Donald Trump, and tradecraft recommendations to address this issue were disregarded. Okay, so you get the point. The guy was blown off. He had what was believed to be good intel. He had the receipts. He had emails. He had dates, timelines, etc. And he provided this to Tulsi Gabbard, or actually she found this. Okay, then yesterday, so this also happened yesterday, earlier yesterday, Kash Patel goes on and says, we found bags of Russian documents in a locked room in burn bags. Don't know what that means. I mean, it sounds like, hey, we're lucky they didn't burn them, I guess. So they're going through those. There's more stink on this poop. You'll never, just unbelievable. Okay, so I need to move along. Today, a little bit more on this information that came out from the annex. This one's from Just the News. Americans are about to get another jolt from declassified Russiagate evidence, this time showing that the Obama administration had intelligence as far back as summer of 2016 that Hillary had approved the operation to sorry about that. Oh, my poor microphone. I hate when I do that. Manufacture a fake Russia scandal to harm Donald Trump, and that the FBI would fully participate in the plan. Yeah, so that was in the report. It's all good in the hood. The Fibbies are going to help out with this. And indeed, they did. A lot of people would say, well, heck, why did the FBI director, Comey, come out on July 5th before the election and just give a laundry list of all the bad stuff Hillary Clinton did and then not indict her? And not that it was his job, but Loretta Lynch was so tight with the Clintons that she was so passive, these documents tell, during this time that they were startled. She was so laissez-faire about it. Startled. In these documents, it says that. Anyway, so Chuck Grassley released the docs. Source directly familiar with them. This was before it was released. They got obviously an early look at it. Source directly familiar with the new evidence, but who declined to be named, just told Just the News that it shows the FBI officials knew a Clinton campaign plan to create a fake narrative that Donald Trump was conspiring with Russia to hijack the election. One guy who was involved in this, and the good guy part of it, he said, let's see, make sure. So make sure I get the quote right. I'll get it in a second. So anyway, in fact, there's evidence that needs to be fully vetted that foreign enemies believe that the FBI would fully participate in the plan. Okay. Source description closely matches comments that CIA Director John Ratcliffe made over the weekend about the document, which we played for you. He helped declassify. Okay. So __ stand up, Steele man, the whole argument that they were out to get Trump, that they did what they could to get him by virtue of a conspiracy. They cherry-picked the people who would report on this. That's why that guy, whistleblower dude, you're out, buddy. We don't want you. You're out. He goes over to Space Force. I mean, well, okay. I mean, I know Space Force is very important and everything, but it's not like being directly in the line of fire and creating the ICA as he'd previously done. So, yeah. Yeah. And it kind of makes sense, doesn't it? I mean, it makes sense in this way. It makes sense that they are doing everything they can to deflect attention away from the fact that they were running an information op, and don't we all see it? I mean, I saw it on January 6th. I mean, after my horror, I was like, what the heck just happened here? This is terrible. We don't do stuff like this. You're right. We don't do stuff like that. We don't. So, which brings us to Joe Kent. And I will tell you that the left was in high dudgeon over Joe Kent. We can't have a former door kicker and Green Beret special operator and CIA paramilitary guy who's, kicking butt, taking names, who's a Gold Star husband. We can't have him in charge of the Counterterrorism Center under Tulsi Gabbard. I'm just pretending. That's what they're saying. So they sent, where is this letter? Come on, letters. Here it is. So the SPLC, the Southern Poverty Law Center, and this newer organization called the Western States Center sent a howler to the suits. They sent a howler to Chuck Grassley, John Thune, the leaders of the Senate. You can't, he's a racist. We've got him on our bad guy list, said the organization that has totally been discredited. That would be the Southern Poverty. I can't believe I ever believed anything those guys said. I honestly, I can't believe it. They've just gone so far down. It's like being in the, the ACLU, the ACLU. They're not the American Civil Liberties Union. They're American Liberal Civil Liberties Union. They couldn't care less about conservatives. Very seldom do they come to the defense of them. Anyway, Mr. Kent is unqualified. He cannot be trusted to lead the nation's counterterrorism coordinating agency. He can't do that. Anyway, they also sent another howler. Twice they sent this letter.